Welcome everyone to this webinar, this hiring webinar, the second one we're doing in this series. I'm Keith Watley. I'm the founder and executive director at UnCommon Law. We provide what we consider trauma-informed counseling, along with legal representation and policy advocacy for people who are serving long sentences, mostly serving life sentences. The work we're going to talk about tonight is our Home After Harm program. A couple of positions open there, and it grew out of years of experience working with people who are trying to navigate California's discretionary parole process. There are about 35,000 people serving life sentences in California, and about 10,000 of them are eligible to be considered every year for release on parole. Most of them are not actually released on parole each year. But in our work representing people going to the parole board, we spend hours with them over the course of months or sometimes years before their parole hearings. And what we're doing with that time is we're helping them explore some of the most difficult, painful, traumatic experiences in their lives. That's the things that they've done and things they've experienced. And we're helping them to understand and explain how those experiences contributed to the actions that led them to prison. And what we found was that the clients who have the best success in this process are those who, in addition to having those conversations with us, they're also continuing those conversations with other people in prison, in groups, or on the yard with a friend or a cellmate. Those conversations continue outside of the legal visiting room. And there were some prisons that over time have really developed into those kinds of environments where more of those conversations are taking place. But it took places like San Quentin or Soledad or Solano decades to develop into those places. Even now, they're not fully there, but they have pockets of that kind of support. So I figured, what if we take some steps to actually create more of those kind of places, not just wait for it to happen over time, over decades? What if we focused on the prison yards that don't have a lot of programs? And what if we had a program that was led by people who've traveled this journey home from a life sentence? And we could have them deliver a program in conjunction with our lawyers and legal assistants. And the answer to those what ifs is Home After Harm, UnCommon Law's Pathways to Parole Success. I'm thrilled that I get a chance to introduce a former client who is our supervising parole success advocate. His name is Israel Garcia, and he has been critical, really instrumental in the development and design of the program. And he'll be able to walk you through kind of an overview of the program and then some of the specific roles. And you'll hear from others on the team as well. I'll pass it to Israel. Take it away, Israel.
Thank you, Keith. So, as Keith mentioned, well, good evening, everyone. Sorry, my first webinar, so I'm a little nervous ever being an attendant or a participant in a webinar. So bear with me as I do my best to describe what Home After Harm is and what we're really looking for from the parole success advocate role. But again, my name is Israel, and I'm the supervising parole success advocate for UnCommon Law's Home After Harm program. And as Keith mentioned, I was formerly incarcerated for just under 25 years for felony first-degree murder, and navigated the board, the BPH, on three separate occasions. And what my personal experience is really, really impactful, because Keith worked with me individually and helped me tremendously. unfortunately, like legal visits only last a short amount of time, and UnCommon Law is a staff of under 10 attorneys, and so the ability to help more people was like the goal of Home After Harm. And so being able to create the program to then take it to places where these sort of like communities don't exist, or they're very, very small. Um, I paroled from an institution where there was a community of people supporting each other. There was an offender mentor certification program, a lot of trauma informed ill tags or inmate leisure time activity groups that were being provided at this specific institution. And I was fortunate enough to be in a space where a number of people were really supportive of each other and working towards a goal of wanting to go home. And what Home After Harm does is it helps bridge that gap. It provides weekly groups that the PSA, or the Parole Success Advocate, helps lead. And I'll speak to that a little bit more in a second. And with combined legal workshops and attorney support, individualized for participants in the program to be able to get this combined and collaborative effort of help and support and guidance to be able to have the best success, not just at the parole hearing, but like later in life, and once they're actually released from prison. And I think, like, for me personally, that's one of the biggest things that I try to bring to this program specifically, is like not just preparation for board and being able to like speak the language that commissioners want to hear, or like create the documents that are needed to be able to demonstrate that people are not going to be a threat to society. And people are so ready to come home, and it's this inability to sort of like learn how to talk to commissioners in that space that is just unfortunate that they're getting denied parole for that. And so we do our best to provide the services to help them in that way, and to heal from like past traumas. As Keith mentioned, also, like, they recognized, and a lot of people recognize, that hurt people hurt people. One of the cliches that's in groups, but holds a lot of truth and holds a lot of meaning. And so being able to work through like our histories and our timelines, and understand how come we started to make decisions that were harmful to other folks and ourselves as well, and to heal from those, and be able to talk about it in a way that demonstrates the healing and the growth that takes place. And so there's a number of other pieces to the program specifically, which is weekly small groups, monthly legal workshops, um, and individualized support from attorneys that takes place. And we try to build, we do our best to build relationships in the program, to be able to help individuals know their own worth and meaning in this world, to be able to say that they deserve something better. And if they're already there, we help foster and encourage and cultivate and empower them to continue on that road. So that's some of what Home After Harm is, and maybe that's the majority of it. And specifically the parole success advocate role that we're looking for people to apply. So everybody that's interested in the parole success advocate role, please put in an application if you haven't already. Um, your services are so needed. So what we look for in a PSA, I'm gonna call parole success advocate a PSA from here on out. It's a lot easier, much less syllables. Is somebody who has actually been incarcerated and navigated the discretionary parole process themselves. And so basically what that means is somebody who's been released through the board hearing, or has had a board and been through released through the courts, or any other avenue, but it has direct experience with preparation and going into a board hearing, to be able to share that knowledge and wisdom to the participants of the program. And what they'll do is be able to hold weekly groups and create space that allows people to open up and talk about their past traumas, their hurts, to be able to then explore how do they work through those and find a path of healing and growth. In addition to that, that's like the primary responsibility for a PSA. And in addition to that, like, they do like some administrative work. there's like they take some notes to help out, because the team consists of attorneys, legal assistants, PSAs. We also have on the Home After Harm program itself that helps contribute to some of these conversations. Is a program manager, an incredible person, and a program support coordinator. And we all work together to try to be able to find the best route for folks and offer those to them. The PSA will also participate and be a part of the monthly legal workshops. And so when they come in together as a team, where the content is primarily focused on like the legal side of it, they'll share their own personal experiences and contribute in whatever way that they can in that space. And some of the other admin stuff is being able to help revise the curriculum when needed, to be able to help revise like the facilitator guide. So like writing skills are really important. Being able to understand concepts in a way that can be expressed and shared with folks on different levels of their learning abilities. So this is like the majority of the PSA role. And just to continue to like encourage folks to apply, I also wanted to share that my experience has been incredible at UnCommon Law. Not only do I get to go and do a lot of the stuff that I love doing and be able to provide and help people who are like my family who are still incarcerated, and to give them a better opportunity to see what options are available to them to make the best decisions in their own lives. I've personally grown like professionally and in a way that I didn't think was possible while I was still sitting inside. And so there's just, I can't speak enough about the team that works together at UnCommon Law and how much it's become a new part of my family. And I want to just invite the people out there who are interested in this role to, if it sounds like something you want to do, we would love to be able to work with you and do what we can to welcome you. And so with that, there's also going to be like a Q&A at the end of this. So if I left any gaps or people are more curious, feel free to put some questions in. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Lilli, who's going to talk about another open role from the Home After Harm team.
Thanks, Israel. You're making me excited to work here, as I already am. Hi, everyone. My name is Lilli Paratore. I am an attorney here at UnCommon Law, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the supervising attorney role. As Israel shared, sort of the most impactful part, most important part of the program is the in-prison groups and workshops that are facilitated by PSAs. But there also is a legal component to the program that is staffed by a team of attorneys and legal assistants. And we're looking for a supervising attorney to support the legal efforts of the team. The primary responsibilities of the supervising attorney are in the job description, but I can talk about some of them pretty quickly. First is really providing legal leadership on the Home After Harm team, and that's going to be in close coordination with the program manager and the lead PSA, Israel. And Megan and Israel really work together closely to make sure we're creating a program structure and implementation that's in line with our values, that's collaborative, that is balancing our needs and values with the bureaucracy that is CDCR. And so the supervising attorney would play an active role in that leadership and ensuring that the program is successful in being implemented throughout our 2 locations and hopefully more. And so there would be a leadership role here for the supervising attorney, just in terms of the program running and leadership and supervision itself. The supervising attorney will also supervise attorneys and legal assistants. That's a big primary role. And so that's going to include check-ins, guidance, support, participating in our HR processes, directing onboarding and training and hiring, and managing potential law students who may support the legal team of Home After Harm. It's also going to include legal team support that is part of the program. So that's going to be participating in those legal workshops, developing workshops, facilitating trainings on the discretionary parole process, providing support to attorneys as they provide direct services and support to folks inside. I want to note the supervising attorney role is really about supporting our legal team, providing supervision and leadership for the legal aspect of the program. It's not so much a direct client-facing role. So if you're an attorney who's really excited about running a program inside, about supporting and mentoring a legal team, this is really an exciting role for someone who's looking for an opportunity to be really collaborative, to work with programs and curriculum and education around legal issues, while also supporting a legal team. This person will have a small caseload of about 2 to 5 clients so that they can continue to do the work and grow their own expertise in the parole process. But as I said, it really is a role for someone who's excited in supporting a legal team, and really making sure our program and legal services delivery run smoothly. So that is the supervising attorney role. And we're really looking for someone who's excited to be on a diverse and collaborative team. We're looking for someone who is excited about facilitation, takes a trauma-informed approach, someone who potentially has experience with developing workshops and curriculum, and especially, as I keep mentioning, someone who has experience supervising legal teams, whether that's teams of attorneys or legal assistants, to really support our growing legal team and providing these supplementary legal services to the Home After Harm program participants. With that, I will pass it over to Emma, who's going to speak a little bit about the legal assistant role.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma, and I am an attorney who will be primarily supporting and also being supported by the legal assistant for Home After Harm. The legal assistant on our team is going to help provide legal support for the 30 individuals who are enrolled in Home After Harm. It's a cohort system, so it'll be like 30 people at a time. And they're going to partner with me and our whole legal team in a couple of different ways. First, they're going to help manage and log and review a bunch of case documents. So this could include parole hearing transcripts, psychological evaluations, court of appeal decisions, so that we can provide like the best legal advice to folks in our program. They're also going to assist with legal visiting scheduling and agenda making, so that if we do have like one-on-one visits with clients, they'll be helping sort of facilitate that process. And then we're also going to be doing like a series of legal workshops, and that the legal assistant's going to be co-facilitating these workshops with me and our legal team. So we're encouraging people to apply who are empathetic and detail-oriented and tech-savvy. Our organization uses a bunch of different tech platforms. We use Zoom usually for meetings. We use Microsoft Word a lot. We use Adobe and PDFs. We use a case management software called Clio. We use Slack to communicate with one another all day. We use Gmail. We use Google Calendar. So we're preferably, would love someone who sort of like is ready to go, either has experience using those or has an experience like learning different tech skills. We're also looking for people who are strong readers and writers. It's going to be a lot of case review documents. So someone who's, can look at documents, synthesize information, analyze it, put it onto paper. And who can also help with some correspondence. Sometimes we write our clients, so they can help draft letters, get those out to folks. And ideally, we'd have someone who has experience facilitating meetings or workshops, or at least a really big desire and interest in learning. I know that like I am not a natural, I don't love being center stage, but those are some skills that I've worked on and I think could support someone learning and growing into as well. Most of all, we're looking for someone who has passion and a desire to learn more about the parole process and provide diligent representation to clients and bring people home from prison. You'll see on the job description that we do not require a college education. So if you don't have a college education, that's totally fine. We have no formal requirements for who can and can't apply for this job. We're really looking for folks who have all different types of experiences, that can add to our team. So if there's any questions about the job description, if you have any questions about whether or not you're like the right fit for the role, please like reach out, ask a question in the chat. Feel free to like email us. We're happy to answer that. And, also just like feel free to submit an application. We love to hear from people with different experiences, and we'd love to entertain you as a candidate. I will turn it over, I think, to question and answer. All right, am I gonna, oh, great.
Looks like we got one question teed up. There may be a second one on the way. And this one, where do people have to live? The parole success advocate position in particular, where we expected to have them live. Israel, want to take that one?
Yeah. So there's two roles being we're hiring for. One's Los Angeles based because the program is running in Lancaster, or California State Prison, Los Angeles County, and the other program is being Oakland based because that's where our main office is at. And the program for the Oakland team is at Salinas Valley State Prison. And so while we don't necessarily have like specific cities outlined for where people are expected to like live in, we are hoping to be able to have somebody who's in enough of a close proximity to be able to make that travel. So it's not, I think most importantly, not overburdensome for that individual in the travel time. And so I think that I hope that answers your question, Terry, and anybody else who's curious about that. If you feel like you're a little bit further away from Los Angeles or the Oakland area, apply, and we'd love to be able to consider and potentially have a conversation around what that could look like.
I have another question. There's another one on the way, but one that came up when listening to Emma talk about the 18,000 tech platforms that we use here at our office, and that we're expecting legal assistants to be able to handle that. Mostly hit the ground running. There'll still be some training for sure. But Israel, can you talk about, for the PSA position, how much tech savvy are you looking for in these positions?
Yeah, thank you for that, Keith. I think there's a little bit of a lesser expectation for parole success advocates than the legal assistants, but it's very minimal. And so what we're looking for as far as how much tech experience a PSA would have is an ability to be able to navigate a lot of these platforms. G Suite, they're going to take notes and have to upload them into the database Emma mentioned, Clio. Most of everything that we do revolves around Gmail and Google Calendars, as Emma mentioned, Slack. And so Microsoft Word, another system called Box. And so being able to like navigate these and on maybe a little bit more advanced of like just the basic level is going to be like really important as well. And so really want to emphasize that being able to work with folks and provide some introductory like onboarding and continued training to support that ability, I think is going to be provided. But coming in with some of that experience is going to also be really important. So thank you for uplifting that, Keith, and for the folks listening. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, thanks. I would just add that we never pretend that people have grown up using technology if they've also just spent 25 years in prison. And a lot of people have a lot of skills, and we're committed to helping people develop the skills to participate in this role. Let's see if there are any other questions. There may be one more Here we go. Can current parolees do the PSA job? Meaning actually going back into prisons. Israel?
Yeah, absolutely. I went back into institutions while I was still on parole. And so it's totally a possibility. I think I'm not the one who makes that decision at the end of the day. Like whatever institute, like Lancaster or Salinas Valley or any other institution where we do workshops at, would be the ones making that final decision. And like with that said, like I recently got denied to go into Sacramento State Prison. I don't know what it's called, the actual like name of the institution, but I got denied for that one. And so if you're on parole, again, like it is absolutely possible, and usually likely with the support of like a letter from an agent, your parole agent, but it is absolutely possible. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah,
I don't
that's
know who asked
definitely
that
something
question,
that
but yeah.
it's definitely something that has opened up the last few years. Wardens and other prison administrators, they recognize the value of having folks who've gone home come back in to help others. They see the impact it has on the people who are currently incarcerated. This is what from Amelie. It says, I'm interested in applying for the legal assistant role and wondering if the work for this role looks different at different times of the year, or is it pretty consistent? Emma, you want to take that one?
Yeah, that is a really great question. And it's a big, like, I think it gives me an opportunity to explain too that like this is a pilot project, which means that like we've done it one time at, we've run this program one time at Lancaster Prison, and we anticipate that there's going to be like changes along the way. And so like flexibility and sort of like someone who's able to sort of like try different things out, see how it works, and is also really important for the role. So thank you for like just letting me preface that your question. But to answer it more directly, the workflow will change. The role of the legal assistant at the beginning of the cohort, it's like a 9-month program. So at the beginning of the cohort, the legal assistant's role is really going to be focused on document review and distilling information. So that's like a lot of reading, writing, sort of like time at a computer, doing a lot of like typing. And so that's like how that sort of will start. Of course, there's like, we've got lots of team meetings. We have lots of other, like, we'll have a couple legal workshops in there. So it'll be varied, but that like the first like 10 to 15 weeks will be a lot of that type of work. And then the work will transition a little. There'll be like more opportunities for like helping make agendas for legal visits, helping like create, find assignments for individualized assignments for folks that are in our program to help them like sort of like better understand a piece of their story for the parole board. And then towards the end of the 9-month cohort, the work will shift a little bit, and we'll be helping like prepare a document that will actually go out to folks called like a roadmap. So people will leave the program with some like concrete legal advice. So the legal assistant would be help drafting and editing and formatting that document. So the work does shift a little bit, but we anticipate that it's a pretty consistent, like in terms of like workflow. UnCommon Law has like a sustainability as one of our values. And so we always try to create like work schedules that work for people. I am really proud to be like a lawyer that does not work crazy hours. I have flexibility, to like end my day at 5 p.m., have like my whole evening, wake up and get to work at a normal hour, and have like various breaks in my day, week. So we pride ourselves on sustainability. We pride ourselves on sort of creating like workflows that work for folks, while also knowing that we have a huge responsibility to our clients, to have zealous advocacy and to give people the best advice possible.
This is from Erica. Would someone who does not have direct experience with the board but system impacted possibly be considered for a PSA?
I hate this part. Unfortunately, no. The PSA role does explicitly ask for somebody who has navigated the parole system and is formerly incarcerated. And I wish it were something a little bit different. But the way the role is really set up, in the way that what we're asking for from the specific individuals or from these individuals is to be able to have that experience to share with the participants from in the groups. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, Erica.
They don't even let me be a PSA, Erica. So. But this, I mean, the value in the experience, you can't really, there's no substitute for it. Especially, I mean, to be in, to go visit someone on level 4 prison yard and to see how they like light up, come alive when they see someone who's paroled from one of those yards from a life sentence, come back in, like reaching back in to help bring them home with them. That it's like instant, credibility is like, kind of an overused term, but it's for real. It gives you a different place to start in the relationships that we need to build with folks inside. Either Jai or Jay Williams, but maybe it's Jay, I'm not sure. Hello, how soon are you looking to hire for each position? Is the interview process through Zoom or in person? I'm not sure where the timeline is set. I don't know if it's in each position. Lilli, or Israel,
I can unmute myself. I believe our preferred application deadline date is April 14th. So that's a week from tomorrow, next Friday. So we're hoping that everyone who wants to be considered can ideally submit their applications by April 14th, and at which point we would start screening applications and reaching out for interviews. Each role has a different application process, but I can say all roles will have at least 2 rounds of interviews with a possible assignment in between them. And so it is a long process. That means folks could maybe anticipate starting, the end of April or early May. We really focus on making sure. Is that wrong? Emma made a face. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just want to I've been in the position where I'm waiting for a job to get back to me. So I really want to be super clear about I think how long it's going to take. I think we probably wouldn't be our interview process and assignment process is going to take longer, and probably would the person wouldn't be starting until at least the end of May. Just to be super clear, because I've been waiting on those emails before, like UnCommon law. So thank you for hiring me.
Thanks, Emma. And I know, Israel, if you wanted to share about the PSA role, if that looks a little bit different.
No, I think it's pretty similar. Exactly when somebody would be able to start, I think is a little bit more unclear, just because there's been relatively a high volume of applicants thus far, and if it continues to increase, that initial interview phase may be extended. And so I'm hoping, I think we're all hoping on the Home After Harm team that, and at UnCommon Law, that somebody PSAs get hired as soon as possible. But we do want to be fair. Equity is an important value of ours, and so being able to hold that value and live it out, I think, is important. And so for the PSA roles specifically, they may be a little bit longer before they're actually hired on. But we do anticipate the interview process to begin what you named, I think, the week of the 20th, April 20th.
Thanks for that. And we obviously want to get folks on board as quickly as we can and start, taking care of folks inside. But we are also very much committed to making sure we get the right folks on board. So if that takes a little longer, it takes a little longer. What about the other part of the question about in-person interviews versus Zoom?
I'll jump in. Were you ready, Lilli? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say we've been doing Zoom and it's been working, so that is what we will plan to continue to do, at least on the supervising attorney role.
I think the same is true for the PSA as well.
But before I read this next one from Terry, I will say personally, I prefer an in-person, but it doesn't work for everybody, obviously. Terry's question: my friend was released, but not through parole, through new legislation. Would he be considered for PSA? Good question. What about that one, Israel?
I think what would be the determining factor would be whether or not your friend actually had a parole hearing and participated in that hearing. And so one of the things that Keith named about the PSA role is the credibility and being able to be that lived example going back into the institutions. Another unique element of the PSA is having lived through incarceration and the process preparing for board is something that is, I don't know that you would find that anywhere else. A lot of people do work outside of here that have never been incarcerated on themselves, but the way that it's done in this specific setting is incredibly unique. So if your friend has done that and they've done the work to be able to like prepare for a hearing, and has had a hearing, and went through that hearing, and whether they were found suitable or denied, but ultimately got released through legislation, I think they would be considered. If they had never actually had a hearing or participated in it, then I think the chances would be, there would be, I don't think there would be a chance for that. No, I'm sorry.
So I think we have exhausted our audience and answered all the questions that they had, at least tonight. You see the banner there gives you the link again to go visit these job descriptions. The timelines are laid out there. Feel free to if you're, as everybody I think has said, if this seems like something that works for you and you want to be a part of, apply. And a lot of times people think, well, I've been incarcerated, and that disqualifies me from a lot of positions. That's not how we operate here. It's quite the opposite. So strongly encourage you to explore this opportunity. Unless anyone has any closing remarks, and I'm happy to entertain those, I'll wrap us up. Anybody? No? Okay. Well, I will thank Israel, Lilli, and Emma for getting this together. And behind the scenes is Aaliyah on, as they say, the ones and twos, helping to get us all squared away. Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining this webinar and expressing interest in joining our team. Look forward to seeing your applications.